Secondly, where do we then position ourselves as Muslims? We spoke about the double standards previously, that when Israel goes into Sheikh Jarrah and demolishes homes, when Israel takes over Palestinian territory, then that's not called an invasion. When NATO goes into Libya, it's not called an invasion. When the US goes into Iraq or Afghanistan, it's not called an invasion. Now it's called an invasion. There isn't this kind of widespread global sympathy with Afghanistan and Iraq and Yemen for what has happened to them as there is with Ukraine. And then you see some of the countries like Poland and Austria and how they're welcoming refugees from Ukraine, but they were not so welcoming when it came to refugees from Syria. I mean, those devastating images of that boy who died on the boat and his body washed up on shore. Some arguments have been put up saying, well, they are our immediate neighbors, Ukraine, unlike Syria. Or the numbers are not as high, maybe 100,000 compared to 1.5 million Syrians that were looking for refuge in various parts of Europe. But the double standards are there. However, like I said in the last hour, I think we should avoid either extreme. One extreme is to just ignore all the double standards, not talk about it, and assume that by talking about it, then you're not showing sympathy and empathy with the people of Ukraine, or you're legitimizing what Russia is doing. Not at all. On the other extreme is to make Russia the hero here. And because of the double standards, or because we have issues with the politics of the West, or Europe, or America for that matter, we should be balanced as Muslims. We should take a position where we sympathize with the people of Ukraine and their plight, where we call out the wrongs, even if it's perpetrated by Putin, but at the same time, we highlight the double standards. That why isn't there the same degree of sympathy for the Palestinians who are suffering far worse for a far longer period of time? Why wasn't there the same kind of support from the governments and from NATO? Maybe on ground level, we saw the protest sector at the time when Iraq was invaded. But why isn't there the same kind of support and kind of, almost unanimous reaction from most of the countries in Europe and in the Western world, like how we see with Ukraine?